How's it going, everyone? Marriland here. And last time we got done exploring Little Root Town. And we saved Professor Birch from a rather fierce Poochyena. We also now have a Mudkip, which is great. So now we're going to check out Route 101. This is the first route in the game. We've technically been here before, because this is indeed where we met Mudkip for the first time. Ta-da! See? Met on Route 101. Okay, that being said, we can go ahead and fight against some of the wild Pokemon around here. We don't have any Pokeballs, so we can't actually catch anything that we encounter. There's Wurmple, which is a bug type, and it's kind of interesting, to say the least, I guess. It can evolve into two different evolution lines, which is rather unique, actually. And the way that it evolves, too, is rather unique, to say the least, because it's based off of its personality value. Some kind of hidden piece of data. Oh, by the way, you may have noticed that the critical hit text was displayed in yellow. That is so reassuring, because it just makes it so it's so much easier to see it when you're pressing A rather rapidly. That's quite nice. Yeah, so it's really interesting because it can evolve into either Silcoon or Cascoon. And that individual Wurmple, or, well, yeah, that individual Wurmple, which evolution it evolves into, you won't know, actually, for quite a while. At least until level 7. That's when it evolves. So the Pokemon around here, they are rather basic. They are only between level 2 and 3. Or rather, you'll only find them at level 2 and 3. I guess 2.5 isn't really an option. But yes, you will find Wurmple, you will find Zigzagoon, and you will find Poochyena. I recommend trying to knock out as many of them as you can find and try to get to level 7 before you make it to Route 103 eventually. So, let's go ahead and I guess we don't actually have to run. However, let's see, what happens if we talk to this guy? I don't even remember. I don't think anything. No one around here gives you much stuff, and I am sure finding an awful lot of Wurmple. I'd really like to show some of the other two Pokemon. Yeah, there you go. As you can see, they're not very difficult to fight. I'd say probably the most challenging of the ones to fight would be Zigzagoon, simply because it has Tackle that's a normal type, which means it gets the same type attack bonus, or STAB/stab, as you may hear about it online and whatnot. That basically means that any Pokemon's moves that are the same type as that Pokemon's type, or either of its types, if it happens to have two types, it gets a bonus. And that's very vital for you to know, particularly if you're newer to Pokemon. However, that doesn't mean you only want to have moves of that Pokemon's type, because then you won't be able to attack anything else. Trying to mix it up is very important as well. Oh my goodness, can we please not find a Wurmple? I've seen enough of these things. There we go. There's another one of the Pokemon in the area. Poochyena, the dark type, well, kind of puppy hyena thing. It doesn't have too many threatening moves at this point, but it does eventually get Bite, which is rather nice. I think if memory serves correctly, it was about level 10 or so, and then it's much stronger. Otherwise, it only has Tackle. And remember that whole same type attack bonus thing I was telling you about? Well, it doesn't get that because it's a dark type, meaning it won't do that much damage. And I did get another critical hit there, that's nice. Okay, getting so much closer to level 7, that's really good. Let's see if we can find a Zigzagoon. Alright, take a look at that. Mudkip has reached level 7 thanks to knocking out this Poochyena. That's about what I recommend your starter Pokemon to be at before you reach May or Brendan at Route 103. There we go. There's a Zigzagoon. Yeah, that's right. That little, I guess it's a tiny raccoon Pokemon. It's quite a cute little thing, I tell you, but on top of that, it can be very useful because it learns a variety of HM moves, and it can pick items up after battle, which is really nice. I'll talk more about the Pokemon you can find here once we get some Pokeballs. However, it didn't seem like it's tackled it very much at all, did it? Okay, after doing a little bit of battles, my Pokemon is rather weak right now, as you can see by going into the Pokemon menu here. Now when you level up, you will gain a little bit of hit points, but you'll still need to heal then and there. So, also while I'm in here, let me just go over the Pokemon menu here. Now, Pokemon pros, you'll know what all this stuff means. But remember, this is sort of an educational series, so I want to use it to help tell you, what does attack mean? What does defense mean? What's all this stuff mean? And also, it's a very short video, so yeah. Basically, Mudkip and all other Pokemon, they have stats. These stats can vary based on the individual species and even the individual Pokemon. As the Pokemon gains levels, which you can see through the experience points, and then the 2 next level mark there, which indicates how many more experience points you need, it will get stronger. And that is definitely how you succeed in the game. You want your Pokemon to be at an amply high level. Those stats there indicate how much, well, potency your Pokemon's attacks have, as well as how able they are to resist attacks. Attack, that actually indicates how strong your moves are that have that little red kind of thing there. See where it says category now that I've selected a move? Well, if it's red like that, that indicates that it's a physical attack. Any physical attack uses your attack stat in order to calculate damage. It also bases it off of the opponent's defense stat. So, if I were to use Tackle, it would use Mudkip's attack versus the opponent's defense. Because that category there is red with that thing there. That means it's a physical attack, or physical base, as I oftentimes call it. The alternative to that is a special base attack, which is indicated with this kind of blue-looking thing with some circles. That is a special-based attack, and similarly to physical-based attacks, it uses the attack stat and the defense stat. Except with that little SP thing there. See the SP attack and SP defense? Well, that indicates special attack and special defense. And same thing, except whenever you use a special attack, it calculates your special attack versus the target's special defense. Speed indicates who goes first in a battle. For instance, if you had 2 Pokemon in a battle, and one had 12 speed, the other had 11 speed, the Pokemon with 12 speed will go first 100% of the time, unless there's a move that would strike first normally, like Quick Attack or something. 1 point makes all the difference in the world. In the event of a speed tie, as it's oftentimes called, then it's sort of a coin flip. It's chosen at random. So if 2 Pokemon had 12 speed, yeah, that's kind of how it works. Now you'll notice below the stats, there is the slot there for ability. This is sort of an ever-present effect on this Pokemon. In this case, Torrent, Mudkip's ability, it powers up the water-type moves when the Pokemon is in trouble. So basically, whenever its hit points falls below 30% or 33% of its maximum, then that ability triggers, and the power of these moves increase. Power of water-type moves increase by 50%, which is very nice. Very nice indeed. Over here, you have something for contests. Now, these will be shown later on, but yeah, that's definitely where they're shown. And then this last tab here tells you its nature, which affects the growth of stats, where you met the Pokemon and when, the level you met it, and the characteristic. Now, nature is very important. It indicates which stats will grow faster and which stats will grow slower. However, there are 5 neutral natures, Hardy being one of them, so we don't get to see an example. This Mudkip's stats will stay just like any normal Mudkip's. The characteristic, it's not really something that affects stats, it's more like something that helps you determine how good a stat is, but if you're not too experienced with it, I wouldn't pay it too much mind, simply because it's more just a checksum of anything, just to see if you got it right, something along those lines. But yeah, this is the Pokemon status screen, super helpful. Again, if you are an advanced player, you're like, why are you showing me all of this? But you know what? There are a lot of new players that want to know what this stuff is, because it's a great time to get into the Pokemon games. But anyway, as I was talking about earlier, my Pokemon is getting rather weak. So what do I do if I want to heal it? Well, first off, see these things here that I just jumped down from? These are ledges, and they are one-way tickets. So if you jump down a ledge, you can't go back up the ledge. Of course, you could just go like that, but yeah, they're kind of useful if you need to get back quickly, but they don't let you go back up them, which kind of stinks. So, in order to heal up your Pokemon if it gets weak at this point while you're traveling through Route 101, just go back and talk to your mom. She will heal up your Pokemon to full, which is very convenient it lets you train up, not have to worry about getting knocked out or anything. Because if you get knocked out and all of your Pokemon faint, and remember, we only have one right now, well, it's not game over. You don't lose everything, but you do lose a little bit of money, and you have to go back to the most recent Pokemon Center. So you want to avoid that whenever possible. Anyway, we've gone ahead and completed Route 01 because the pathway up here leads to Oldale Town, which I will check out in the next episode. I'll see you next time, everyone!